Hey everyone! I've got a couple of junk journals I wanted to show you. I'm just going to flip through them quickly. There's two of them. They are both very similar in how I made them up. And as usual, I am trying to use up some of my pattern paper stash and some book pages and various little embellishments that I've been collecting over the past little while, so I wanted to use those up. Now I've used the binder rings on these two because in this case these were so old they were falling apart. The spine was very brittle, so I didn't really want to reinforce the spine on these. I just thought it would be fun to do the binder rings. On the smaller ones like that, I like to use the binder rings. Plus when you open up the book it lies flat. I get people asking me what do I do with my junk journals, and in most cases I just like putting them together, and I don't really journal a lot as far as writing. So when I do make up these quickly for myself, I try to make them where there'll be some journaling space on each of the pages or every other page or something, just so that I have a little spot where I could write something down but not go into long, lengthy writing. So a lot of these, when I make them with that in mind. I'm not a traveler, so they're not for adding photos and ticket stubs and things like that. So they're more for just like writing little blurbs. They're also good for carrying around the house and adding a little to-do list when I think of something that I need to remind myself of. They're good to just keep little short lists in. So let's get started. This one here, I used a couple of eyelets on the front, and because it was just for myself, I didn't add any eyelets to the back. I just punched the holes through. But I added these wider eyelets to the front. And then this little seam binding I just ran through the front cover through here so that it's stationary when I do flip my cover open. Okay? And I thought that this was a really cool French book. It's from the, I can't remember if it's the 30s or 40s, this copy, but obviously from the Catholic schools with the image of Christ here on the back. I thought that was sharp looking. And I did keep the spine, and I added it inside the book. I do that when I can salvage the spines, I keep them. The inside covers I didn't do much to. I added Tim Holtz Distress ink. This one is old paper. And I just sort of take the ink pad and kind of brush it on and then wipe down with a rag sometimes just to give it a little bit of a distressed effect. I added a tag here that I can journal on in a pocket. It's a little bag. And on most of these patterned pages I added some stitching. What I did use a lot of in these two is book pages from these old books that are very brittle. So trying to use them in a junk journal on their own, they are too brittle. So I thought, what if I folded them? And that way, if they do start to crumble and stuff, they're stitched and glued on, and they are backed up by some other paper, so that reinforces them. So it's okay if they actually get a bit more brittle in here instead of trying to, bind them into a journal. So I'll just flip through this. I did a lot of cards, flash cards, note cards. These are these little embellishments that I have that I wanted to use up. This is a printable. My cat's in the background whining. I apologize. These envelopes here I found at a thrift store, and after I opened the package when I got home, I saw that the humidity or moisture had gotten into them, so they're all sealed. I can't open them up. So I just cut the top here and I can use them as pockets. So they're usable that way. Again, some stitching. I've tried to have a little bit of a journaling space on all of these pages. Could even journal on the back of this. I could use a white Uniball pen on the dark pages. I have a lot of these little embellishments here in these two books that were sent to me in a swap, so I've used them up because they were really pretty and they went really well with the blues and greens that I chose in these papers. This is an original book page from this actual French book. An envelope that I cut up. I could add some gesso in here if I wanted to write on here, or I could just add a paper clip and a piece of paper. This is a greeting card. I like the saying on it. Another tag. Just some found papers from around the house, an old bus route schedule. These cards I found at the thrift store as well. It's a whole package and it's got all kinds of interesting places all over the world. And I really liked this one here, said schoolhouse, and this being a school French lesson book I thought would be fitting. Another tag. Just a board game card. I could journal in these little spots here. Just an envelope. More book pages. And again, just some stitching. It just adds a bit of dimension to your pages, right? This was an interesting little pocket from a board game called Words. So it's like a vinyl little pocket. Index card. Playing card. Another printed image. And this was a little scrap of embossed paper that I had played with. And that's it for this one. Now this one here is a vintage copy of A Tale of Two Cities. And it too was sort of brittle along the edges here. I guess when old books start to age, where the fold gets weaker from opening and closing over the years. So I cut the spine off and I kept it inside here. And so when I decided to use this little pocket, I had to cut a little piece off here so that my binder ring would fit and I could still open the flap. And again, I did some stitching on a lot of these pattern pages. And I tried to have some journaling space on most of these. This is one of my printables. And this is a page from the original Tale of Two Cities, and this is very brittle paper. It's thick and it has aged really nicely, but it falls apart, it crumbles. So I just folded some and stitched them on. This was just a card from a pizza place we have in town, and I just love this girl's expression. So I had to put that in there. Some journaling space here. Sometimes I just leave them plain. I don't have the inspiration at the moment as to what to add there, but later on when I do decide to use the book, that page is there for me to use. This is a gift card pocket, and I could stash a couple of little things in there, a couple of cards or tags or something. I just added a little sticker. This is one of those old bank coin rolls. I just folded it up on the angled piece there and glued it here, so it makes a really cute little pocket. Some more of these 4x6. I used a lot of the basic gray. Some of their collections are nice with the 4x6 cards and the 3x4. They're really pretty. This is one of my printables. It's like a little note card with a label on it. You can journal inside and then tuck it back in. An index card from somewhere that I recycled. Some vellum. It's nice to just add in some little scraps that you have. Another little card from a swap. I think this one was from Irma. An envelope. Playing card. And this was a really old book page. It even has some tape on it that's aged really well. This is a book cover protector. I forget what you call them. You kind of like remove it from the book and your actual book cover is underneath. That's just a piece of that. I added a little pocket and tag on. Another playing card. I'm sorry, my cat must be hungry or something. Another envelope. Some embossed, shiny cardstock. Some more vellum, a little piece that I had left over. A printable that I can journal on the back. And I put it on a little piece of the squishy stuff that you have in cookie packages. I just like the crinkly sound it makes, so I put that in there. So this is this one. And in my usual fashion, once I've added all the paper clips and all the embellishment cards, my journals always end up being puffier on this end. But I think that happens to a lot of us. You sort of underestimate how much thickness you're going to be adding, and then you put it together and that's what happens. But that's okay. They're junk journals, and I think they look awesome that way. And if you don't like that, you can always just add a closure to sort of tighten it down, right? So that's it for these two books. I am currently working on a few more, and I'll be doing videos now that the holidays are over and the house is more quiet. I'll have a chance to share them with you. So if you have any questions, let me know. I appreciate you watching, and we will get together again soon. Bye!